All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Football Thursday, being uploaded on a Friday because, well, Thanksgiving and all. I expected my viewers to be busy, Thanksgiving, all that holiday mumbo jumbo. Hope you had a wonderful time with friends, family, watching the Cowboys get their butt beat. And you'll see in the pigskin pick'em that I did predict the Bills and Bears to win and the Saints, so there's that. So I'm already off to a 3-0 start for the week on Pigskin Pick'em. Amazing right there. But let's go to college. I know actually some games are going to be played right now. As currently recording this video, Virginia is beating Virginia Tech. And there are some Friday games that are fairly good. One-loss Memphis team's playing a one-loss Cincinnati team. That's going to be fun. Again, Cincinnati's only losses to Ohio State, so they could have been an undefeated at-large team, which definitely would have made a huge jump in the ranking. Appalachian State's playing tonight, one-loss team. Oregon State, men's football. Oregon, speaking of that, they blew it. They blew it versus Arizona State. 81-yard touchdown, a lot of turnovers. Not very good, so they blew it, and I personally think that's totally put a nut in college football. That is totally just threw the wrench in there and just having the gears just grind out the wrench until, everything just comes to a complete meltdown because you just broke all the machinery. That's just what happened there. The fourth spot is still wide open for grabs. And Georgia, again, they'll probably have to get by LSU to secure their spot in. LSU, I think, is in the position of win or lose, they're in. Clemson, their schedule's so weak, they still have to win out. Ohio State will have to win the Big Ten just to, get in. Like, if they lose to Michigan tomorrow, they might drop them, because they might get some help with a Georgia lost to LSU or whatever, but let's just not hope those scenarios happen, folks, because I don't want those scenarios to happen. And again, as I stated last week, Auburn, for the love of God, you are home. Please defeat Alabama without Tua Tagovailoa. You are home. It is the Iron Bowl. Please save college football with a win here. You've already ruined it with beating Oregon week 1, who had no receivers. So, and then Oregon had to ruin it again now you ruined it, Oregon, by losing. So watch, Utah's going to ruin it by losing to Oregon. Baylor kind of ruined it by losing to Oklahoma. Oklahoma ruined it by losing to K-State. Yeah, imagine if Oklahoma was undefeated. Now, again, maybe Utah gets in. I would really like to see Oklahoma versus Bam. Well, then again, they don't have Tua, but I would still like to see Jalen Hurts go up against his old school and light him up. I would really like to see that, but I kind of do just want Oklahoma to slide into that spot if Utah doesn't get in. Would just like to see him slide into that spot. And then the other teams, battle for Paul Bunyan's axe, most played college football game, Wisconsin versus Minnesota. That's going to be fun. And yeah, you're looking at my rankings here, and yeah, that's kind of it. It's almost it. Almost the rest of them don't even matter after Oklahoma now. Just, maybe, you're trying to get into whatever bowl isn't in the college football playoff first 2 rounds, whatever bowl isn't there, because, it rotates between the Sugar Bowl, the Peach Bowl, the Rose Bowl, the Orange Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, and the Cotton Bowl. So whichever 4 are on the outside looking in, that's probably a bowl you want to be playing in for the postseason. Get yourself that extra game. But speaking of that, let's go to games to watch. Just going to transfer over here to games to watch here. Of course, I'm going to have the game, I'm going to have the Iron Bowl, and I'm going to have the battle for Oklahoma here because they have each of the top-ranked teams. But because I know this is very much a rivalry week, I know you could be watching LSU A&M. You could be watching Florida State, Oregon State. You could be watching all kinds of games out there. I mean, right now, again, some good games that are going on right now. Virginia Tech, again, Cincinnati and Memphis, Appalachian State, one loss team this year. Very good at-large team. Wish they were undefeated, but oh well. I was riding the bandwagon. But that, again, lots of great games. I know you're probably good. If you have an alma mater, you're going to watch your biggest rivalry game. That's just how it's going to go. But if for some reason that game is not on, again, I suggest these games to watch. They have major college football playoff implications, which, again, always fun. You know, college football implications on the line, conference championships, conference records on the line. Everything there's on the line, and again, this week it's going to be pretty much set up until the conference championships. And yeah, that's pretty much. Let's just move on. Let's just move on to the NFL, the Shield. And as you take a look, again, I had to put the Steelers back in to the AFC wild card because, well, the Colts decided to lose to the Dolphins along the way. That happened. Then the Patriots, decided to keep winning, and they got a game up against the Chiefs very soon. Going to be an awesome, look, you take a look at that. The Patriots have played the Texans. They played the Texans this weekend, and they played the Ravens, and they're going to play the Chiefs. They played the Steelers, and they've already played the Bills. So the Patriots are going to be going into the playoffs having played every team in the playoffs for the AFC. How about that? When people tell me that the Patriots play a weak schedule, I've just got to point out that they played every team in the playoff in the regular season this year. Sure, they lost to the Ravens, and they haven't technically played the Texans or Chiefs as of this video, but they will be playing the Texans, and they will be playing the Chiefs, and they're all going to be in the playoffs. So when you tell me that the Patriots play a weak schedule, I can just point to this and tell you that you are wrong. You are just dead wrong, because when you're a first-place team, you play a first-place schedule. And yeah, sure, they had an quote-unquote easy conference, but, a lot of people are like, oh, the NFC's tougher. Well, let's just compare AFC East to NFC East here. Well, the Patriots are 4-0 versus the NFC East. Okay. The Bills, 3-1 versus the NFC East. Okay, that's the second-place team. And, yeah, the Bills, if they were in the NFC East, again, winning 3 of those games, and with their current record, would be first place in the NFC East. So the second-place team in the AFC East would be first place in the NFC East, having a winning record against that division. Oh, let's look at the third-place team in the AFC East. It is the New York Jets. Well, the New York Jets are 3-1 versus the NFC East as well. So, tell me again, what's the weakest division in football? Just because the Cowboys, Giants, Redskins, and Eagles are more competitive does not mean they are a stronger division. They are not. Name me, besides the Giants and that one Eagles, who the Redskins have not sniffed the Super Bowl since the year 2002. That's when the 8 divisions were formed, so I'm going to use that as the measuring stick here. As the start of our measuring stick. The Cowboys have not sniffed the Super Bowl. The Eagles have sniffed 2, lost 1 to the Patriots, 1-1. The Giants have sniffed 2, 1-2 versus the Patriots. And that's about it. Those are the only teams that have also gone the conference championship games for them too. Except for the one year where they lost to the Niners, the Giants, and the Harbaugh. Yeah, the Harbaugh Bowl happened. That was that. But besides that, we've had lots of Patriots teams sniff it. Lots of sniff the playoffs. We've had a lot of Bills teams sniff the playoffs, even though recent history would tell you, but they're going to sniff the playoffs this year. They've snuffed it a couple years ago. They've had a couple of Drew Bledsoe years where they've sniffed the playoffs. The Jets have had a couple of Rex Ryan years where they snuffed the playoffs. Had a Chad Pennington years. The Dolphins have even had some Chad Pennington Wildcat offense years where they sniffed the playoffs. And, generally a very scary team in the league. And again, the Jets have reached a couple of the conference championships, but you're telling me that the AFC East is definitively the weakest division. I can tell you as of right now they're superior than the NFC East, and I can tell you historically they're on par with them in terms of in terms of other teams winning Super Bowls and getting the conference championship games. I can tell you they're solidly on par. And they actually tend to put out a better team than Coach Clapp out there and Coach Choklin. than a lot of these other teams. And again, the Patriots are going to play every single team and in the AFC playoffs. So they're playing the best of the best of their division already too. So where does the stigma come from? I have no idea where it comes from. I don't know. People just want to hate the best team. They want to hate the greatness. You learn your lessons eventually, especially when the Patriots keep constantly beating those so-called best teams in the NFC 6 out of 9 times. Possibly 7 out of 10 or 6 out of 10. I'll still take that percentage. So there's that. There's my little spiel on why the Patriots don't actually play a weaker schedule than people lead you to believe. Do your own research, people. Again, looking up from 2002, since 8 divisions have started. Technically, the only divisions, I believe it was like 2016 or 2017, the stat was made, but I believe it's been surpassed now. But between 2002 around 2016-17, the only divisions that have each team have 100 wins in total, were the AFC East and the NFC South. Mark that. So, again, and if you take out the division winners, who has the best overall win percentage, again, most of the time the Patriots do win the division, and the Patriots, again, one year when they didn't win the division, they had the same record as the Dolphins, so you could almost count that as pretty much taking out the Patriots out every year except 2002. And you take a look at that, the AFC East has the highest win percentage. Why? And again, as I proved, the Jets are 3-1, Bills at 3-1 versus the NFC East. They win against other divisions. The Patriots just constantly make you look worse than you are. It just happens. You're going to look worse than you are. Like Ohio State, going back to college, has made Jim Harbaugh's Michigan team look worse than they actually are. On average, you get about 9 to 10 wins with Michigan. Very good. You can compete for a solid bowl, maybe a New Year's Six bowl. But because Ohio State was at the peak of their powers with Urban Meyer, and now the Ryan Day, and a lot of them are Urban Meyer recruits, but Ryan Day this year is going to make Michigan look worse than they actually are. And you got to remember that when you're playing the cream of the crop, you look worse than you actually are, especially if it's on a year-by-year basis and you look, they're just embarrassed. If you look embarrassed on national TV because you're playing the best of the best constantly, you're not going to look so good. That's like if you took your whatever high school you went to and you played De La Salle on ESPN. My high school ended up having that, and we looked worse than we actually were because, the following year we went to sections, and year after that we went at Folsom in the section playoffs and took them to the wire. And the year after that, we made it to state. So we looked worse on ESPNU my junior year than we actually were. And the history, the couple years after, some of the same class people who are on those teams, proves that. You can look worse than you actually were. It's not hard to do when you're playing, you're playing Tom Brady 2 times a year. You just do, and you just can't win. You're playing Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, Gostowski, Gronkowski, Edelman, and all of that. Year after year, twice a year, you're just like, oh my. But yeah, that's that. Again, you could look worse than you are on television when you play the best of the best. But let's just skip on now all the way into the pigskin pick'em here. Alright, so last week, again, I didn't get the 12 points, but I got the 9 points. I expected the Falcons to do a little better there versus the Bucks, then got a couple wins. I did pick the Lions to beat the Redskins, and shocker, the Redskins decided to win. And I picked the Raiders to beat the Jets, and the Jets decided to win too. So the Jets' only wins aren't just against the NFC East, folks. But I did get the Saints, I did get the Seahawks win. I called the Jaguars, but no Minshew, no streak, so gonna have to rethink that. Did get the Patriots. I called the Packers, but man, oh man, the Packers looked like a total mishmash versus tonight. I did get the Ravens over the Rams. Then that was a story. I feel sorry for the 16% Ram homers who thought they were gonna win that. Wow, talk about that. You got Ram homers with 16% voting, and Cowboys homers with 16% voting over the Patriots. See, Packers, Niners, that could have, that one's fine. And then the Eagles homers with the 21%. That's hilarious. I find it hilarious that there was more Jets fans, like 15% voted for them to beat the Raiders. There was less Jets fans thinking they could beat the Raiders, and there was more Rams fans thinking they could beat the Ravens than the Jets thinking they could beat the Raiders. So there's that for the week. Totally got the score wrong there, but that's okay. But again, this video is coming out, so you won't see what I've currently picked right, but I can tell you as of now, I picked the Bears, I picked the Bills, and I picked the Saints. So right now I'm starting off 3 for 3 on the week. Jets Bengals tomorrow morning. The Bengals are definitely getting the first pick. Redskins are winning games. Jets are winning games. Lions won early. Jets won games. Dolphins won game. Giants won a couple games. The Bengals have to win 2 games and hope the Giants don't win, and the Dolphins don't win, just to tie for last place. The Bengals, we have 5 games left. They can lose 4. They're in a great spot for the first pick. And whoever they want to get, they will most likely get, because other teams have decided to win. Cardinals, they're better than their record states, but I think they're going to beef up their line. The Broncos, I don't know there. But let's just go take a look here. Again, I got Jets, Bengals. I got Steelers in the rematch over the Browns, the dog pound. And I'm going to take the Packers over the Giants, rebound from that Niners fiasco. I'm going to take the Titans over the Colts here. I really like Derrick Henry in the running game, and I'm liking the offense a lot better with Tannehill than Marcus Mariota, even though I loved Marcus Mariota more in college. But again, college and NFL, 2 different stories. I'm going to take the Eagles over the Dolphins here, as much as I'd like the AFC East to beat the NFC East. Just, to prove my points even more, because then it'll get the diehard. You see, that's the best part about the NFC East, is that you have the Cowboys who are delusional, and you have the Eagles who have delusional fan bases. Both have delusional fan bases, so then they create narratives that they think they're the best division when they're really not. Historically, they're not. And yeah, so there's that. And then Jaguars, Bucks. I'm gonna roll with the Jags here. The Battle of Florida here, even though Miami's not involved. But here's the battle for the best record and best team in Florida. I'm going to roll with the Jags here, but don't be shocked if the Bucks win this. That's why it's a 53-47. Panthers, Redskins. Battle of Josh Norman. I got the Panthers winning at home with Run CMC. Next, it is the Niners and the Ravens, and whoa. Niners do have a better record. Ravens are 9-2, but it's a 23% for the Niners. And I'll tell you what, folks, I know people were skeptical at the Niners, myself included, but I'll tell you what, man, the Niners are definitely deserving more of a 23% vote on Pigskin Pick'em. I can tell you that with a straight face. That should at least be 40-60, at the very least. They're on the road, sure, but the Niners have a great defensive front, they have solid secondary, and their offense moves the ball fairly well. The Ravens, again, have a strong front linemen. They have the best running game in football, and again, I think this is a more even match than I expected, and I would like the Niners to win just so that final Seahawks game can decide the winner in the first seed in the NFC. That's just me. I like creating storylines. I'm a WWE guy, so I love storylines. I love, victories, creating storylines, animosity, King of the Ring. I love it. So I kind of do that. I kind of feel like, and the Niners are a good team, so I'm not, grasping at straws here, folks. I'm not grasping here. Next up, Chargers, Broncos. I have no idea. These teams decided to be bad, then good, then bad, then good, the bad, and the ugly, and I'm going to pick the Chargers, hopefully. Very big question mark there. That should be a 50-50. Chiefs, Raiders. Now, I know this is a 5%. I am going with the Chiefs, but the Raiders are still good enough to pull this out, folks. They're good enough to tie this up and tie this division up, and boy, oh boy, would that be a shocker to Kansas City and Oakland Raiders fans. The last year in Oakland, and they are fighting for the AFC West, and then see them go off and win in Vegas. Again, I've said this before on when I was back on Delta College Radio, but man, oh man, does it suck to be an Oakland guy. Like, yeah, you could be like a guy who's a fan of the Warriors, the Niners, the Raiders. Like, it just sucks to be an Oakland guy who's a fan of Oakland teams, because you were a fan of the Golden State Warriors because they were in Oakland. They went and flirted back with San Francisco, went back to the X, because they were Philly Warriors, then San Francisco, then Golden State and Oakland, then back to, they're still Golden State, but they're in San Francisco now. So they went back to their ex. And then the Raiders guys, their ex would be Los Angeles, but the Los Angeles was taken. They were flirting with that, but they decided to go off and find this hot babe in Las Vegas and, go there after they got John Gruden back. So they kind of went back to the ex John Gruden and then just flew off to Vegas to get hitched. All right, that's what happened. Mark Davis took the team with the ex John Gruden, flew off to Vegas, got hitched, boom, gone. And then the Oakland A's... Again, the Oakland A's here, folks. Apparently, the Alameda County in Oakland are trying to sue the MLB over something, and then guess what? Apparently, MLB said, you sue us, we're just going to leave the Sacramento. And Sacramento, the Kings, they got a new arena. Sac Republic FC just moved up from the AAA or AA league of the professional soccer in America to the MLS. So if they get the A's there, boom, that's 3 professional sports teams. And again, an hour south, we're in Stockton. They have the Stockton Kings, who are the minors of the Sacramento Kings, the Stockton Ports, who are the minors of the A's, and the Stockton Heat, who again are the minors of the Calgary Flames. But hey, that is 3 minor teams in the next biggest city near Sacramento, and then 3 major teams right up there in Sacramento. That is a very good sports area. Geographically wise, that is a very, very good sports team. But again, rest in peace, Oakland guy. Next up, Patriots Texans. You got a weak offensive line versus the best defense in the league, and yeah, I'm gonna roll with New England here. I do think I say it should be 75-25. I would say 75-25. Next up, it is a very, very important playoff implication here, as the 2, 5, and 6 seeds are battling out on Monday Night Football, folks. And it is Kirk Cousins versus Russell Wilson, and the Seahawks are home. And I say this should be about 35-65, maybe 40-60. But I got Seahawks 27, Vikings 24. Thanks for listening again. Day after Thanksgiving. Happy Black Friday. Happy Cyber Monday. Happy Thanksgiving. Get ready for all those Christmas specials and Christmas songs. And all those Christmas decorations. Enjoy your holiday. Whatever holiday you celebrate. Whether it's Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, Christmas, or maybe something you just decide to make up, or you don't decide to celebrate. Whatever you want to do with your life. Beats me. Go have a fun time. See you next week.